When I think of the early days of Interval House, I remember the passion, commitment, and enthusiasm of the initial staff group. 8 women who opened their hearts and minds to the pain and grief and rage that is anti-violence work, and who, over time, came to experience the joy, pride, and strength that comes from making a real difference in the lives of abused women and their children.
Interval House of Hamilton was started by some of the most courageous advocates who really felt that there was a need in the community to have a non-faith-based shelter that was specifically geared to address the issue of violence against women. They wanted to establish a shelter that was not just about giving a bed for a woman, but was going to change the social conditions that women were facing, and I'm proud of the heritage of Interval House. At the time of the late 80s, there was a number of significant murders of women, and we still had a system that was not responding to their cries for help.
He tells them, if you leave, I'll kill you. And he means it. And 4 of my ex-clients are dead. And he said he would kill them, and he did kill them.
Interval House of Hamilton and the women who led it were not going to stand for it anymore. A lot of the systems that had been set up were still at the place of thinking that domestic violence was a private matter. Interval House really led the charge, making sure that it was considered a social human rights issue. Right from the very first day, they were already doing things locally, provincially, and nationally to change the social conditions that women were facing. And I really do believe that these women who were at Interval House created some of the greatest changes that you see in Ontario today.
After 13 years downtown, Interval House moved to its current location on Hamilton's West Mountain. Today's staff continue to be strong advocates for women, but inside the shelter, the focus is on safety and comfort.
Interval House is a home away from home. The environment is very, very friendly. They have free access to all the facilities that we have. When they come in, every woman has their own room, and it is also to their own bathroom. We do have a common kitchen that is very well equipped. Women can make their own meals, and we have CYC staff that are well equipped to handle children.
My name's Renee, and I'm a child and youth counselor here at Interval House. We help the children by providing programming for them, having, one-to-one conversations with them. We do active games or quiet activities for the children to be able to deal with what they are going through. We also have a beautiful backyard, tons of grass. We've got a slide and a play area for the children. We've got a beautiful garden where the children have been a part of planting the food, to watering it, to harvesting it, to help, bake and make something with it. So it's just such a wonderful space for them to be able to run and, feel safe and free.
In the work that we do in Women's Services, we've several years ago partnered with Hamilton Children's Aid to provide support with women who have experienced abuse or violence, because they're the expert in child welfare. We're the expert in women abuse issues. So we really collaborate to look at what else does a woman feel needs to be in place for her to continue to be safe with her children. We also provide training to child welfare workers on women abuse issues. And our direction is really, how do we hold abusers accountable for the behavior? And it is very leading edge, as it was not heard of many years ago, to collaborate in those partnerships in holding men accountable in that way. We have young men who come in and work in the children's program. We have males that will come in and do volunteering on our garden. We have men on our board of directors, and we really seek men to speak to the issue of ending violence against women.
Bonjour, Interval House, Linda speaking. How can I help you?
I am staff, but also I'm an immigrant. And I have seen that the center is really open to diversity of different cultures, and is always receptive to the cultures women bring and their way of handling their own lives. So I think it's very important, the respect that the center offers to them. And also there's lots of innovation going on at Interval House.
When I was first hired at Interval House, I was hired to provide continuous improvement
So make sure our services were responsive to women's needs, but also were forward thinking. So when I first came, there was an opportunity to be a part of Dr. Harry McMillan's grant if, when, and how to ask the question around women abuse in healthcare settings. It also led to a second research project that we were involved with, which was really looking at the education levels of healthcare providers, how to really work with women who've been abused. And then we worked with Dr. Mohit Bhandari, creating better responses in fractured clinics for women, and I think that we were really privileged to be a part of it. And then currently we're working on the Ontario Shelter Project, which is really looking into what do shelter workers and their executive directors think they do, and then what do the community think that shelters do, because we really think there's a disconnect. So in 2007, I was appointed by the then Minister Sandra Pupatello to chair the Ontario Domestic Violence Advisory Council to the government, in which we made 5 recommendations to improve services for women, which I'm very pleased to say that the government has taken on many of those. One of the areas that the government then put forth to change was creating a practice guide for those who are working in child welfare, which we were very pleased to be a part of, developing both the curriculum and the practice guideline. The government has also hosted a high-risk symposium for police services and allied other professionals to come together to really look at how do we develop high-risk teams for community. I am so proud of Interval House in that I think that we have accomplished tons of things over the last 5 years.
Not least of Interval House's many accomplishments was the decision to amalgamate with the Women's Centre of Hamilton, a move that has helped to extend their services to women in the downtown core.
Good afternoon, Women's Centre of Hamilton. Patty speaking. Bonjour, how can I help you?
The Women's Centre and Interval House amalgamated about 2 years ago, and I think it was a perfect marriage. All of our outreach services came to the Women's Centre, and we also strengthened the existing services of the Women's Centre and combined the two to provide wraparound services for women.
Hey, Patty.
The women who use our service are looking to talk, looking to connect with other women. They are also women who sometimes are isolated and don't have supportive friends or family. Sometimes they do, and they just want to learn a new skill or connect with other women.
Good morning, Jared's Place. How can I help you? Jared's Place was named after a little boy who was murdered on an unsupervised access visit with his father in 2006. Since then, his mother, Julie, has been fighting within the different judicial systems for better advocacy and support for women who enter into the family court system to help assist with custody and access disputes.
We can't just listen to the sensational story in the newspaper one day and then turn. His life is ended because systems and communities didn't respond, and that's the importance of Jared's Place. And we're honored that Julie allowed us to use his name so that we can create that change that needs to happen.
Our legal advocates can assist women with family, criminal court, immigration, civil law, help with CAS, so child welfare, the police, OW, housing tribunals, as well as court accompaniments. We have a resource center where women can come in, and we have a computer set up so women can access the internet to fill out court forms. We also have a child minding area, and if they have any questions, we can help navigate them.
The Flamborough Women's Resource Center officially opened in 2009, and absolutely been amazed at the response from the community. So we were actually approached by a long-term resident of Flamborough, Judy Partridge, who said, I see the need to have a women's services out here. And we had done some preliminary work out here before, and we really realized that women didn't have access to good counseling around violence against women. They didn't have any access to lawyers out in Flamborough, and certainly housing was a huge issue. So they asked us to come in and provide the services because they really felt that they needed it. It's really important for us that people know that the Flamborough Women's Resource Center isn't just for women who are experiencing violence, that it's actually a resource center for women. This service is defined by and for the community. I personally really want to thank the Hamilton community for standing behind Interval House right from the beginning. Before we had government money, it was the community who stood behind us first. We raise annually about $400,000 to fund our services. So we thank our donors who support us, because without them, we could only do half of what we do. I think where we're headed, I'm really excited about the staff team that we have, because I think that we are innovative and we're trying to create the change. And we will both work with the woman who walks through the door, but our greater purpose is that we also want to work with those systems to make them different.
I think Interval House is extremely important to Hamilton, and we're leaders in a lot of different areas now, which is good because women get great service from us.
I don't base success on how short of a time I work with a woman, but on if she's achieving what she wants out of that time I have together with her.
I think they're all success stories. I think the courage and the strength that it takes for a woman to walk through those front doors is astounding.
I love what I do because I can give a voice to women who don't have a voice.
The more empowered women are on the issues and choices that they have, they can make more informed decisions that are working towards a life free of abuse and violence.
I first came to Interval House 24 years ago, and I can't believe how many lives we have changed over the years. Shelters are there to provide safety, but our bigger work is to change the system so women don't leave our safe shelter and get killed by their abusive partner. Today we are still changing lives, and I am so proud to have spent my last 24 years working at Interval House and can't imagine spending my life anywhere else.
You know, we've accomplished a lot of things and a lot of firsts, but they are all in line with our goals, which is change. The long-term goal for Interval House of Hamilton is that we are no longer needed. I think I will celebrate that day when shelters actually close their doors, because I don't like institutionalizing women. I don't think that women belong in shelters. I think women belong in a community that responds to them, that respects them, that allows their full participation in society, and certainly allows them to live without violence. That's the goal of Interval House.